So, guys already know we gotta talk about it. I think with what happened, it does go to show, man, no one cares that, 6ix9ine snitched. If you guys take a look in the a little bit behind the scenes video that was posted by somebody who was part of his entourage, and the music, little short music video he did, he was in Brooklyn. And a lot of the people from Brooklyn gathered around, even the ones from the hood, everyone from the black community, who was saying, man, I ain't gonna mess with them dudes snitch, this, that, and the third. They all still showed him love. So I think in the end, in the conclusion, that I made about the first video called, Does Anybody Care About Snitching? And I will leave a end screen video link to that so you guys can check that out. In that video, I made the conclusion like, nah, man, no one really cares about snitching because, I broke down a lot of examples and real stories in that video, because I'm 30 years old and I'm definitely before this generation. The ones that are coming up now, the ones that are part of the Kashi's age and a bit younger, people who are part of, Yachty's age, Kodak age, young boy age. I know I'm missing a couple other people as examples, but I know of them. I don't listen to them. They're not my kind of music with the whole mumble shit and drill type, but I'm definitely before this generation. I can tell you guys, in my generation, I know a lot of us now that you may hear us say on these broadcasts, like, man, we didn't indulge snitching, we didn't mess with anybody who snitched. I have to say that's complete cap, or like a complete lie, a complete false, narrative, because I can only speak on from my point of view and from what I have experienced. And the thing is, we did mess with people. We still were friends with people. We still talked to people. We still hung out with people. We still invited people, who did snitch. Even when we found out about it, in the end, we didn't care. If anything, we acknowledged it and we championed it. So the main ones who are, definitely my age on these broadcasts or on a lot of these, like, hip-hop debate shows, like, Wayno's my age from Everyday Struggle, right? I guarantee you he acknowledged snitching. I guarantee you there are people in his camp that were snitching, man. And I guarantee they found out, but they didn't care. They didn't care. Just like the generation before me from the 80s and 70s, a lot of the, dope dealers, for example, right? Like, I'm from up north, but I've lived down south my entire life. So on the East Coast, we heard about a guy, named Apollo, who killed Richie Porter. And Apollo was a snitch. And he only did so many years because he gave up a lot of people. Well, he was from Brooklyn. And from what I hear from especially Star, real name is ChEDDErTarY, he talks about New York and how, Brooklyn niggas, indulge and engage snitching. They stay snitching, according to him. And I have no reason not to believe him, because there's OGs that can verify for Star, because he came, he never grew up in the hood or nothing. He let that be known, but he definitely got down for his. in the streets and earned his rep. And even he can definitely vouch for a lot of the, big time so-called street hustlers and dope dealers up there. They were snitching and people indulged it. So when Impalo got out, people were celebrating Impalo, man, when he got out in Brooklyn. So that just goes to show, again, no one, doesn't care about snitching. For those that, go to church, I use, some of the biblical stories that we hear about with Jesus, right? And his homeboys that turned on him and ratted him out. Them people get indulged and champion more than Jesus. Down here in the South, we champion snitches, man. For example, Buck, he was supposed to do 6 years for a tax. Man, down here in Tennessee, we champion Buck though. Even though we really don't check for him like that, because the dude is a bum, and he did get found out about him being a bit of a bum. But, he talked, he snitched. He only did a year. But we didn't care. Just like this generation that looks up to Boosie. Boosie crossed a certain line when it came to him snitching. And we don't fuck with him no more. Let alone have him down here in the South anymore. He was down here in the South one time in Tennessee because he had to do some business with Buck. And Buck had to give him a bit of a pass. 24 hours. Now, to understand what Boosie did, I'm going to leave an end screen video link talking about why you shouldn't look up and listen to Boosie anymore. Because if anything, I'd rather choose 6ix9ine over Boosie. And you guys will hear why when you guys check out that video. But with that being said, and everything, and this being a short video, I think it goes to show, with both sides of the party that, I don't want to say both sides. I think with all three sides of the party, from the West, East, and South Coast, people don't care about snitching. Take a look at the West Coast, man. You know how many famous artists from up there that got pretty much found out years later they cooperated in some way, form, or fashion with the feds, and either did no time or very little time, but yet everyone still messed with them. Like I know down here in the South, we don't mess so much with the East Coast music as we do with the West Coast, because how West Coast street life was a bit similar, if not almost similar, to the South. And notice I said the word was and not is, so past tense. Take a look at the guy that killed Biggie and no, not Biggie, the guy that killed Pac. That murder was solved. Take a look at the guy that killed Pac. That murder was solved. They know who did it because there was a lot of evidence and stuff that broke down. But the reason why this guy never got arrested and never been tried, because it's like one of the laws over there in California. So anybody, something about conviction laws or something like that. And DJ Vlad did plenty of interviews with this guy. And Vlad got a lot of hate for it. But this guy is championed over in the West Coast and celebrated, and still hangs around people who quote unquote love Pac. Right? But this guy is also a known snitch. So he's still walking around just like he goes on the East Coast. Now, for those that don't know, I do claim Pac as a fake West Coast rapper because he's originally from the East. He's from New Jersey, which is right next to New York, and Philly on the East. And this guy goes over to the East Coast and gets celebrated for killing an East Coast native, if not ratting out on a couple of people on the East Coast. So, again, people don't care. People don't care. No. Just like the guy that killed Nipsey Hussle now. I am a bit older than Nipsey Hussle. I am a bit older than him. So I really don't connect to his music. Again, I'm 30 years old. I got a couple more months before I turn 31. But the guy that killed Nipsey Hussle, right? And I've done a video called, why Nipsey Hussle really got killed. He kept his business in the streets. And when you keep your business in the streets, eventually, there's consequences behind that. And the streets are trying to let him, be known like, look, man, you made it to a certain level. We don't want you around no more, so we got to kill you. I'm going to try to remember to leave an end screen video to that as well. But the guy that killed him was a known snitch, right? See, it ain't no fun when the rat has the gun. Because this guy was a known snitch and never got locked up for it and still alive walking around, guess what? People in Nipsey's hood and in Nipsey's area, even within the city, this guy is still acknowledged and championed for killing Nipsey Hussle and for being a snitch. So the whole prerogative of snitches get stitches, lays in ditches, we don't champion snitches and all that, that's a false narrative. So every generation champions knowledge snitching to where I think I'm pretty much right when I say no one cares about snitching at all. I may not listen to Troy Ave, but I heard one of his things that he said, the streets are a myth. He may be a bit off his rocker, but he's right about that. The streets are a myth. All that yip-yapping and jib-jabbering about the streets and how shit goes, sadly, I wish most of that talk was true, but it's not. It's not. 100% it's not. I guess you can almost paint it the same as like crossing or double crossing someone, and yet these people are still cool, I guess you can look at it like that, but it really doesn't fall to the same category, but it kind of does in a sense. So I think this goes to show with Tekashi in Brooklyn. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, the reason why no one ever did nothing is because he's security. It doesn't matter about security, because if you were, a real gunner, right? A real gunsman, a real yardman that stands for that's Jamaican word for gunman, right? A real killer, real gangsters in the streets, security wouldn't matter. You would have still went up there and definitely bust shots at dude. But no one did. To me, the gangs in New York ain't about shit, man. Because they ain't gang bangers, man. New York is a business state. So they're street hustlers, not gang bangers. And some of the gang members and gangs in New York, from what I see, man, they bums, bro. Treyway got what they deserved because they knew what they were getting. This is a game from the 2000s, not the fucking damn 90s. They started way in the late 90s, but took off in the 2000s. So you might as well say Treyway was a 2000 game. They knew what they were getting with Tekashi. They knew already that this dude was an informant and he snitched in the past. But guess what? They still let him in anyways. They didn't follow by the quote-unquote street rules or gang rules. They didn't care about the oath they all took. Because again, that shit's a myth. That shit don't matter. And now look at them. Because they invited a rat, got down with the rat, they all got took down by a rat. Them niggas from Treyway in prison right now, you don't think them niggas in prison are eating them up like food for that shit? They eating them up like food. If you take a look at Shawty's picture that he posted, he looks like he's hurting and starving in there. I guarantee you he's getting ran for his breakfast tray, lunch tray, dinner tray, commissary, even using up his money on his phone. Cause I guarantee you, them niggas in there in prison, they ain't gonna let them dudes from Treyway eat. No, they doing this like, look, man, you guys let a rat do all this, man. You guys knew what you got into. You all ain't gangsters. Keep it a buck. That's what it is, man. And I said it, yeah. Especially when you have somebody who has a platform up there, and I ain't gonna say guy's name. You know who he is. You know, meet a couple of people on IG, you know, live and stuff, you know. So people talked about it. You know, we may not got big platforms. My platform may not be that big. And I talked to somebody about this, and this individual interviewed some New York gang members, and about nothing. But this guy who does these interviews, there's proof out there that was being shared that this individual keeps a rat with him who reports to him, and he is fucking around with this person literally and paying this person. But and this dude's a hypocrite, so when it came to some other people on this platform who were brought out as snitches, he wants to call them out. And because of this, he messed up his platform for a bit. But still keeps a snitch around. So this dude is from New York. I'm not sure if he's from Queens or what, but I believe so. So in the end, you know, people don't care about snitching, man. No one cares about snitching in the streets. Because again, it's a myth. It's a myth. No one cares about it. And I think with what was shown, niggas in Brooklyn champion 6ix9ine. And we're only going to see more of New York champion 6ix9ine, showing love to 6ix9ine. And like I said, us people in the black community, we're hypocritical. We're hypocritical. We want to call somebody else as a snitch who's not black, but when it's one of our own who's black and who is a snitch, we look at them like, bro, you did the right thing. So we don't keep the same energy. And as you guys seen, all the black people in the hood from Brooklyn did not keep the same energy at all. What does that go to show you? No one cares in the end about snitching, bro. No one cares about snitching in Brooklyn. So with that being said, I'm out. Peace. So there's one part I did leave out and I kind of want filled in, so this video might be 20 something minutes long. But you know, down here there's a biker club, and they move like a biker gang, but they not a gang. And that's the thing, what they got deeply confused. If you're a biker club, and I looked up certain biker codes, biker rules, and on a YouTube channel, and they break down the difference. If you're a biker club, then you're a biker club, but you shouldn't be wearing a patch that's a rocker. And a rocker patch is like, kind of goes like an arc shape. So if they're a biker club, they need to have a straight patch, which is just straight across. But they want to do badges with what certain ranks and certain members get in biker gangs. And I have evidence, quote unquote mail, physical mail, heavy documentations, heavy documented, especially on my other channel and on this channel, about one of their members who is a fucking rat, dude. But you know what? He got down with another biker club that knew they accepted him in, but he left that one, so he cross-jumped and back into the other one that he was in, and they accepted him back. So that lets me know that, one, they wanted to play tough, and when one of their leaders tried to approach me, he didn't do nothing. He didn't do anything at all. So then that also lets me know, okay, one, these people ain't about nothing. Two, you accepted a rat back in, which means your whole crew is fucking dirty, which means all of you are pretty much rats. So it goes to show no one cares about snitching. No one cares. You know, you got people accepting other people back in, man. I guarantee you, man, if they were around real biker gangs and real biker gangs found out about that shit, bro, this whole bike club would be shut down. They probably wouldn't even get the opportunity, chance to even be alive. But it just goes to show, you know, no one cares about snitching at all. Point blank, period. No one cares. Because if they cared, then a lot of these people who are rats, you know, they wouldn't be alive. They wouldn't be out walking. So I think with what is definitely shown from a biker gang accepting in a rat, vouching for a rat, you know, might as well call them a gang since they want to be one, even though they ain't. They're a biker club. You know, there's consequences behind that shit if they ever get found out. Even with Tekashi, you know, being accepted in with Brooklyn and everyone from Brooklyn, from the hood, especially from Tekashi's hood, bro, they welcomed that nigga with open arms back. In pictures and in videos when he was out over there. So they didn't care. They didn't care. They didn't care. He was letting people get close enough to him to take pictures, bro. Pictures. So, again, no one cares about snitching. So, with that being said, man, I'm truly out. Peace. And this is the end of this discussion.